What's going on, everybody? Doc here, Average Gamer, guys. Escape for Tarkov action today. We got an update, patch 0.14, 0.9, 0.5. I was planning on taking today off. Happy 4th of July for everybody celebrating it in the US of A. Hopefully you're having a great time. Maybe getting in some Tarkov today with the holiday and being off from wherever you're off from. If you're having a break from work, hopefully you're going to enjoy some fireworks, maybe a little cookout, maybe some friends and family. That'd be pretty cool. Or maybe you're gaming with your friends, which is always a good way to celebrate. So, quick rundown, patch notes. We're gonna roll through them. I'm gonna give a few takes, I guess, a couple of thoughts, and from that point, we haven't tested any of this yet. I haven't updated myself, so I'm gonna be jumping in probably later this evening, give a few things a go. But I am encouraged by a few things I've seen, as well as some reactions on the old Twitter sphere. So we'll see. Let's get into it. List of changes: PvE, single player, offline mode. This is fantastic, absolutely huge. We did a video a week or two ago talking about the PvE. This, I think, is going to be one of the biggest changes that's going to make accessibility for this a whole ton better. So I'm very much excited about that. This has been promised. We finally got it delivered. Hopefully it works well. But this should also really significantly help just the servers, I hope, right? It's also going to hopefully make it so that it's a little bit smoother. If you're just trying to get in, you have a little bit of time, you can run some couple of fast raids on the PvE zone if you have access to it. And then this is going to open up the way for other folks to be able to get that here hopefully soon. So this is a good thing overall. It is important to note, if you're in a group, if you raid as a scav, or you do Streets of Tarkov, which I think is an interesting one, but if you do raids on Streets of Tarkov, you will utilize the servers. So that is a little bit of a bummer. I think these two portions were probably well known. This one, I didn't watch anything from TwitchCon or whatever, so I'm not sure if they talked about this. That was kind of news to me with the patch notes, but hey, it is what it is. I don't know what the restriction on this is, or if they're afraid of abuse or anything like that. In PvE, doesn't really matter, no, but anyways, that's the restrictions. But everything else you can do solo, single player on your machine. I'll be testing that here very shortly. Wishlist mechanics. This is a whole bunch of stuff that they've talked about, and a handful of new things, at least for me. Essentially, you can create a wish list, okay? This allows you to put these into a separate handbook. That way, when you pick them up, you can get notifications. You can do hideout items for the wish list. You can configure all of this stuff in the game settings. I'll be playing around with this. This will persist after wipes, so that's kind of interesting, and you can manually clear this. That's all good. This is kind of neat. That way, you don't have to do anything crazy in terms of writing anything down or keeping separate notes or whatever. This seems like kind of a step forward. Hopefully it's easy to add these things. We'll test that out, but this is a pretty cool feature. Don't know how many people will use it. Kind of once you get into the flow of the game, at least for me, I generally have a decent idea of what I need to pick up and what I don't, but this would probably be really helpful for newer players or people maybe coming back to the game with a whole bunch of the new items that they've introduced. So that's cool. Good to have, right? Not a bad thing to have. In-game feedback surveys. So this is good. This is going to give us a little bit more information. They're going to ask for us. It's also important to note that you can get in-game rewards. So that's pretty cool. So we'll have to see what that's all about and what they throw up there. AI adjustments. This is another big one. Probably one of the biggest complaints about the PvE mode is that the AI, it's just raiders and rogue AI, and it's not great. This seems like it's going to be a whole lot better. So I'm not going to read through all of this, but they can pick up items, loot crates and bodies. They'll choose more valuable loot. If you're in the raid for too long, or they're in the raid for too long, or they pick up enough quote unquote gear, they will leave. So you do have to kind of hunt them down. The other thing that's probably most important is AI PMCs are going to travel all over the location. So they will go to the possible loot concentration. Bots move in tactical formation. When they reach their point, they'll collect the loot, they'll wait for enemies, and then they might set up an ambush, or they may extract, right? If again, enough time has passed or there's been enough loot. They're going to sprint more often. They're going to be set to level 20 for ground zero. All AI will now react to the enemy if information came from a nearby bot. So here's the important part. I don't know if this is going to impact scavs. That's something I'm a little nervous about. I hope it doesn't. I hope they've separated this. All bots, regardless of faction, will hear it and decide to move in your direction, take cover, or perform other actions. The concern I have with this is that this is going to turn PvE mode into like a horde mode almost every raid. Right now, I'm sure there's some distances, and hopefully they calibrated that right. This one by itself worries me the most. All right. we'll have to test it out. We'll have to play. We'll have to see. You already kind of, I felt like, got a lot of attention being the only PMC's actual players on the map because everything is essentially trying to fight you. However, with that being said, I'm curious to see if this is going to interact when, like, the raiders kill scavs, and if then other scavs move towards them. You know, it's going to be interesting. We'll have to see with this one, but I'm curious to see. AI scavs are also now going to travel all over the location and look for valuable loot. They're going to be less picky. They'll move between potential loot destinations, tactical formation if they are traveling in a group. That's kind of interesting. It's going to make maps flow a little bit better, be a little bit different. We'll have to test these things out and see, but that could be pretty cool. They also said it's the first iteration. They're going to refine their tactical behavior. In future updates, any necessary mechanics, or all, will be moved to PvP mode. So that could be pretty cool. I'd actually like to see raiders, rogues probably won't, being at water treatment, but scavs and things moving around, being a little bit more dynamic, will make the game feel a whole lot better, PvP and PvE, so that's cool. New task, Nostalgia quest line. This is for Edge of Darkness Edition bonuses. We have a new quest line for attaining the Mark of Unheard, okay, in PvE mode. That's pretty cool. And then a new quest line for obtaining expanded PMC pockets. This allows everybody to pick this up. We'll be jumping into a handful of these. We have just Edge of Darkness, so we'll be able to test out a handful of these things and see what they bring. So that could be pretty cool. New uniforms through Ref. That's a little bit of a bummer. That's more for that's purely for PvP because you can't get it anywhere else. League of medals are going to be needed. Take that for what you will. Those can be kind of hard to get sometimes. Profile wipe, you can now reset it. You can do both your PvP progression separately or together if you like, so that is pretty cool. You're going to get compensation for reporting players who cheat. So it's going to be in-game message. You're going to get compensation for several successful reports will be combined. That's pretty cool. And players receive in-game currency compensation after the report. So nice. Balancing adjustments. This one I'm actually really, really excited about. Spawn chance for a whole bunch of really good optics. This, the Burris, the EOTech, that, March Tactical, that scope sucks. But the Razor, Schmidt and Bender, this Tango 6T, a whole bunch of the scopes got updated, improved spawn chance, which is fantastic. These are hard to come by, so that is pretty cool. I'm really excited about that. They reduced recoil for basically all the bolt actions. Maybe not every single one of them, but most of them. That's a W. Mosin Man is coming back. Mosin's still really good. So leveling, hideout, management, and crafting skills has been increased. That's good. That can be a little bit of a block if you don't do this a ton. And then remove the hearing distance bonus from the perception skill. This has been a big ask for a lot of folks, especially as they get into the upper levels. And we'll test it. I think I'm going to be okay with this. I think everybody being on the same playing field when it comes to hearing is important, as long as you're running the same or similar gear. And so this is probably a step in the right direction. We'll see. Then they fix some stuff. That's what we got. Down and dirty. So we're going to be jumping in a whole lot of stuff for PvE, which is really cool. I think that is really smart for them to do. They're delivering, at least for a good portion of the things that we saw on the Tarkov TV and the roadmap. It took a little bit longer. It took a couple of days. This is supposed to be late June, turned into early July. That happens. Can't be mad about it. Downtime is now done, and game should be back up. But with any patch, keep in mind that there might be some big changes, and you got some new quests and a whole bunch of other stuff to do. If you've been grinding Arena, you can pick up some new outfits, so we might be taking a look at those, see if they're any cool, and a whole bunch of other good stuff all around. And again, balancing adjustments for all the scopes is awesome, and reduction for bolt action rifles, I feel like, was pretty good. So a solid patch here, solid patch. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Again, if you're celebrating, happy 4th of July. If you're not, hopefully you get a chance to jump in, at least have some fun, test some of this stuff out on the weekend, jump into some PvP and PvE raids, and see how the changes impact, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.